Was Phoenix a snooze fest for race fans? And could the racetrack be losing its championship race? We're going to talk about all that and them Toyotas.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment, the post-Phoenix episode. And man, we got a lot to talk about today. Some people calling this race a snooze fest. A lot of people talking about what is the future of Phoenix, because there is some talk about, well, we will get to that. But man, let's talk about the racing here to start out with, especially these Toyotas. I'm going to start calling them the biscuits because, man, they were out there sopping up the gravy this weekend. And this is a year that we've been talking about the different manufacturers with the new noses, Ford and Toyota. But Toyota was very, very strong. And take a look at this right here. Tyler Reddick getting the stage 1 win. And Tyler off to a great year right now, looking really strong. And I don't think it's going to be very long before we see this young man in victory lane. But momentum will carry forward, and I see it happening. But take a look at this guy right here, Christopher Bell, getting that stage 2 win, continuing that momentum and that dominance over to take the final checkered flag, to get the victory here at Phoenix, first win of the year. And you got to look at him as a strong contender right now for the championship once we get back to Phoenix this fall. But if you look at it, wasn't but just a week ago we were talking about the dominance of Chevrolet, and people were looking at Kyle Larson like he's going to be the man to beat. But now, Christopher Bell, he's put his name in that hat, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of the year goes, to see how this manufacturer's race plays out, and who comes home the champion. But we got to talk about right now some of the drivers that didn't have the best of days, and Kyle Busch, out there going the wrong way. And Kyle, not to say he's not having the best of the year, but he's got one top 10, sitting 12th in points, obviously not where he wants to be. But another driver that I do see getting wins here really soon and being in contention. I've said this all along. I see him coming on strong this year towards the end, something where they fell off last year. But I do see some momentum picking up for him as the season continues on. But we got to talk about his partner in crime here, Austin Dillon. Man, Austin's going to be hiring that Morgan & Morgan attorney sponsorship to sue somebody soon here, because he is off to not the best of season. 3 races out of 4, been crashed out really early here, or getting into accidents really early, and definitely not the way he wants to start out a season. And you might be thinking, you know what, that desk job over there at RCR might not be a bad idea, but, a lot of time to rebound and everything else, which I will say, I do see Austin Hill getting in that car here eventually. I just think it's going to happen, but we're going to be following this to see if they're able to rebound for a year. But the guy that a lot of people were talking about who was pissed, and that was Joey Logano. Joey Logano not having the best today, not having the best of year, really, but obviously got a couple poles. But John Hunter Nemechek getting into the ass end of him and punting him around. Joey was not happy about that at all. And let's take a listen to Joey himself.
I didn't slow that. No, I drove in you got to lift to make the corners, Bob. You can't hold it wide open around Phoenix, and maybe he should take a look at it and realize he can't do that too. He drove straight in the back of me, and he's the man enough to own up to that.
But all in all, a good day for the Fords. The Fords have rebounded. Last week, we were talking about the Fords weren't doing the best, weren't showing the momentum that they had the first 2 weeks, but they rebounded really well here at Phoenix. Had 5 race cars in the top 10, and that was different teams. It wasn't just one team. This was Penske, RFK, Front Row, Stewart Haas Racing, all of them getting top 10 finishes, and a good rebound for them, and a great way to put this manufacturer's race back into a little perspective. And you got to give it up for RFK. I mean, Chris Buescher getting a second place finish, very reminiscent of what we were seeing out of him late last year. And Brad Keselowski getting that 4th place finish. Really want to see Brad get a win in his own car, his own team. I think that'd be really cool for him. And once again, something we're just going to follow the year to see if this happens. But 4 Toyotas in the top 10, 5 Fords in the top 10, and only 1 Chevrolet. So that's crazy because, like I say, we were just talking about Chevrolet being dominant, but now it's spread out. So I'm really excited about this manufacturer's race, really excited to see what happens once we get to Bristol. I don't understand why we run a short track package at Phoenix. I don't consider Phoenix a short track. It's kind of somewhere in the middle between an intermediate and a short track, but obviously didn't work. Fans didn't like this package there, and there's a lot left to see how this is going to work out at places like Martinsville, but not the package that everybody was hoping for so far. But hopefully, some room to work there and make this better. And let's talk about the Snooze Fest, because this is something that I saw a lot of when I got up, and a lot of polls were asked out there about was this a good race or not, and it was kind of, I ain't gonna say 50-50, but there was a lot of people saying this was a tough race to get through. If you take a look at this right here, people were saying that it was very boring, that they were struggling to stay awake, and other people just did not like the action that takes place at Phoenix, saying it was just typical Phoenix racing. And that's something that's brought up a lot of talk here since the race about what's going to happen here, because obviously it's causing a little bit of a stir, because this is the championship racetrack, and technically if we were to go there in a couple weeks to settle the races or the championship hunt, kind of looks like the Toyotas will be really strong there more than anybody. And, you got to face it. It doesn't matter what track we're at for the championship race. It seems like the final four drivers all tend to be 1, 2, 3, 4 in that championship race. So I don't necessarily know what the answer is here, but a lot of people are talking about the race going to Homestead, looking at other options for this. But again, seems like it doesn't matter where we're at. The top four in the championship hunt seem to be the top four in the championship race down to the checkered flag. So kind of wild, kind of odd, but I guess they're just, they're really strong that day, apparently. But I'm going to throw this into the hat right here, because this is something that I brought up in my last episode. And again, I don't know what the answer is about the final track to go to. I personally have always thought Richmond would be a good track to settle this at, but obviously the short track package isn't there. So really wouldn't want to see that happen right now. But the track that I would like to see a possibility that could be a championship racetrack is this place right here, Rockingham Speedway. I mean, I love this place. It's a beautiful racetrack. And there's a lot of people that were talking about at the end days when NASCAR Winston Cup left the racetrack at Rockingham that it wasn't providing the action that it needed to be. But man, I'm going to tell you, I would love to see what these new cars would do out here on this racetrack. And, the state of North Carolina has pumped a lot of money into this racetrack. They've done a lot of updates. It's a great facility, so much different things to do there. And I think this racetrack deserves a race on the schedule, whether it be an exhibition race or whatever. But I would love to see what this racetrack could do with these new cars, because right now it's just sitting idle, and we could have the best racing happening at this racetrack. But at this point right now, we don't know, and possibly will never know. So NASCAR, man, do something so we can just see what these cars do there. Go out there and test. Take 10 cars to go out there and test, and let's just see what kind of action we have or whatever we get out of that. But would love to see this racetrack come back to life. And interesting stories. We'll see where the championship race goes, but I do have a big feeling Phoenix is going to be losing it. But anyways, what are your opinions on this? How do you feel about everything? Do you think Phoenix is the proper place to settle the NASCAR championship? Would you like to see it go to a different track? Did you think Homestead was a good track to settle the championship race? What do you think about that Rockingham? Come on, man. I need somebody to get on board with me, and let's get some racing out there at Rockingham, because I would love to see that. And man, if it was a championship race, it's close to home. So I'd really like that. But anyways, throw them comments down below. Let's talk about that or everything to do with this, because that's what the show is about. It's what I love to do, and I love your communication. And if you like what I'm doing here, please give the channel a subscribe. Give this episode a like, but more than anything, throw them comments down below. Let's discuss this, because that's what I'm here for. But man, like I said, I hope everybody out there is having a great day. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.